Spirit communicates in the strangest ways sometimes. So next time you have something weird going on, maybe pay a little bit more attention. It might be something bigger than what you're actually thinking it is. It might not even be yours. Have you ever felt something in your body that just didn't make sense, only to find out later it wasn't yours? 3 times in the past 2 weeks, my fingers and toes went completely numb, freezing, and I just wanted to go to sleep. Turns out Spirit had a message. The first instance was actually at bedtime. I was trying to go to sleep, and throughout that entire night, I was frozen. Now, the temperature in the house and outside wasn't any different from any other night that week. It just, my toes and fingers were absolutely frozen. And so I was wrapped up like a little burrito. I even had a heated blanket, and nothing would help. In the morning, it went away. The second time, I had just come home from a full day of work, and the feeling started again. In my fingers first, then my toes. So I got in a really hot bath, and I was shivering. Absolutely shivering, just my fingers and toes. So at that point, I kind of realized that it was Spirit, and I was like, okay, I will give you a little bit of time. When I got out of the bath, I went and laid in my bed to try to connect with Spirit, and I went into the deepest sleep that I have been in years. And I woke up 3 hours later totally confused. The last one was today while driving in my car, running errands. I started getting that sensation again. And it just won't go away. I know who it is now, but I don't always know, and I don't always realize that these changes in my body are Spirit trying to get my attention. So I started piecing this together after the first night. I had run into someone that morning, and I was like, oh my goodness, I could not sleep last night because I was just frozen. And this person, almost as soon as I said that, said, I have not been able to warm up all day. I keep going into the other room where the heater is and standing by it to warm up. After talking to this person for just a little while, I asked what's wrong, because clearly their energy was off and not okay. And they weren't sharing that. We were discussing other things. So they finally opened up and said that they received a call a couple of weeks prior that their nephew, the person that they raised from the time he was a little boy, passed tragically by freezing to death. So he had come to me before I even knew that I was going to be seeing this woman, and she was actually feeling him too. He lived in a rural area and really loved driving around, and there was a snowstorm with ice on the road at the time, and his car got stuck, and he called the police. There is a recording, but there are also other things that look like he tried to get the car out himself, and he was found down the road deceased. As she was talking to me, my world started going away. And so I mentioned this to her, that yes, he tried to survive, but when it was his time, it was like he just went into a deep, deep sleep. And when he woke up, he was joyous. His spirit was free. It felt very free. And he was, I told her, pinging around like a bouncing ball. And she laughed and cried at the same time and said we used to call him a little bouncing ball because he had so much energy when he was little. Again, this wasn't a reading, it was a random encounter. I wasn't prepped for any kind of session, and when he came to me, I wasn't open for Spirit. But sometimes they're very stubborn, and although I have boundaries, they come in anyway. When I felt him the second time, I already knew exactly who he was. And I needed him to step away because I did not have time to go speak to her. And I can't always go speak to people. And I don't always know who the Spirit is or who they're for. Since I knew who this was for, I told him I would create time to talk to him. But he didn't give me that option because he kind of put me to sleep right away. And so the next day I tried to go find her, and talk to her, but she wasn't where she normally was, so I wasn't able to do that. Fast forward to today, and I felt him again. I didn't have any clients today. Tuesdays are my days to run errands and get other work done, but he was with me, so I was able to go stop in. She was where she normally is, and we had a really good conversation. I said he just wanted me to check in because he's worried about you, and it really brought her a lot of peace. And then I told the spirit, you gotta go. Like, you gotta go. It's enough is enough. Welcome to Mediums in the Wild, unfiltered medium moments. I'm just kidding. I don't really know what to call this. I do want to create a series where I share my normal everyday and some kind of weird things that happen as a psychic medium, healer, and just intuitive spiritual coach, because I do feel that most people would find it interesting or maybe even resonate in some ways.